this verse. That is not the way you learned Christ, that you have heard about him and were taught in him, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in righteousness and holiness. There's 3 steps here. There's putting off the old self, and there's putting on the new self. Depending on your translation, it's worth noting, self is an unfortunate translation. It's useful for English, but it's bad theologically, because old self is part of what maintains this idea of this is a part of you. The language in the Greek is actually old man, new man. Old man, new man, which is a direct reference to the first Adam and the last Adam, the old man and the new man. And it's just a little nudge towards more accuracy. You aren't trying to get rid of old habits per se and get new habits. There's a death of an old man so that you can have the life of a new man. And the transition is exactly in verse 23. See, we want to try to put off the old self and get to the new self, but we have to be renewed in the spirit of our mind. That's why in the dream, that's what got shot. There was no recovery from that mind. I had to get a new mind. So the old man has to be put to death. That's already happened. So when we, again, I'm just saying again, die daily is not I labor to control my fleshly appetites and carnal will. It's daily I recognize that I am already dead and my old man has received his due punishment. And I choose to agree with that judgment. You put off that old man, you put on the new man, and the bridge is the renewing of the mind to that reality. Verse 22 describes the Adam nature. Verse 24 describes the Christ nature. And in between is a renewing, but the renewing is different than the 2 dogs we've all been taught. Most of us have been taught that sanctification is like 2 dogs battling inside of you. There's the bad dog and there's the good dog, and whichever dog you feed is going to win. That's what most of us have been taught. In some form or fashion, you got to feed the good dog, then he'll get stronger and win. That is just another way of putting the yoke of law on people and saying this is up to you. The entire story of the scriptures Paul lays out, according to what Jesus said and did. If I be lifted up, I'm going to become them. That's what will draw. All men are going to be drawn to me. Jesus became your snake. So that means your snake was judged in him. Now you have the chance to be the new life. You just got to renew your mind to that. And the renewing of the mind is not about feeding the good dog so that the old dog gets weak, the bad dog gets weak, because there's not 2 dogs to begin with. Renewing your mind is believing you just have Christ living within you. And you got to get rid of your phantom. Here's another from my life. And I talked about contacts and glasses, but a better picture is actually when I got LASIK surgery. When my wife and I married each other, we were both previously widowed. And so she had 4 kids, I had 4 kids. That's why we have 8 kids. They're all ours and they're all beautiful and I love them, and I'm glad to be an empty nester also. But when we got married 13 years ago, the gift we gave to each other was, let's go get LASIK surgery. Very romantic, I promise you. LASIK surgery became one of the clearest examples to me of what it takes to renew the mind. Here's what happened. I walked into the office. My eyes were bad, 2200. Okay? So that, you know how that works. 20/20 is normal. 20, 30, 40, 50, 80 is bad. 2200 is legally blind. It means I have to be 20 feet from something to see something you can see equally clearly from 200 feet. So I walked in and my vision was blurry, and I had worn contacts and glasses before. And contacts and glasses required daily works, right? Daily works. Got to put on the glasses, got to clean the solution, got to put the things in my eyes. All those daily works. I walk into the office, the world is blurry, 2200. I go down into the chair. I am laid down in the death of my old man. There's some laser work. Eyes, things. I'm laid down, but I rise up in newness of sight. I can see 2020. Now, guess what happened the very next morning? I reached for my glasses. For 6 months, I reached for my glasses. Every day for 6 months, I woke up in the morning because for 20 years prior to that, I had to reach for my glasses. I had muscle memory. I had soul habit. I had an unrenewed mind to the fact that I had been laid down in death and brought up into newness of sight. But once I caught up and renewed my mind to that, I don't reach for my glasses anymore. I don't actually have the habit of sin, of needing the works to correct the vision, because I've been raised up into something entirely different.